Hey, I'm Kyle, and today we're going to talk about some new things that we've been doing with AI. I'm partaking in a competition with some friends, people across the country. Some of them I don't know, just to learn about new AI stuff and get to work with it. It's called Spring into AI competition. It's 5 weeks. We focus on building in public. So that's kind of what this is. I'm sharing my experience, my learning, putting in consistent reps and just ship something that fits the current theme. And the first theme is data visualizations, dashboards, and interactivity. Um, so AI in general is just, yeah, it's just disrupting things. It's really changing things a lot. And so just trying to keep up with it as if one possibly can. You can't really, but hey, gotta try, right? So I'll show you what I came up with. So what I did was I come from the Flash world, Adobe Flash, way back in the day. You may have heard of it. I think Apple kind of killed it off, but yeah, it was awesome. It was a lot of fun. The web was really cool back then. You could do lots of interactive sites and things like that, and it was really cool. And haven't really seen much in the way of that since Flash died. I mean, yeah, there's some things. There's 3JS, WebGL's out, WebAssembly. All sorts of things. Unity 3D, I think now compiles down to it. It has done that for years. But anyway, I wanted to kind of revisit that. So I do primarily do like cloud architecture, backend stuff, ETLs, um, and lots of data stuff. And so I wanted to try to solve problems that I don't get to solve at work. So I went back to doing more of like a front end approach. Let's see what we can use AI. And I used Vercel V0's app for this. But what I came up with, let's see if I can share this screen. There we go. I came up with this Sky Stats. I've always been fascinated with commercial flight. It's it just amazes me that something that heavy can fly in the air. I live under a flight path and I just watch them and it's amazing. It's just this mix of software, crazy amounts of software and hardware, and that keeps these things in the air, and it's amazing. Man, if I could start over, have a different job, I'd probably try to be a pilot. That'd be cool, but a little late now. So instead, we have this dashboard, and Vercel generated all this. And the way I went about it is, these dashboards, they all kind of start to look alike. But I wanted something that was sky colored, kind of gave that feel like I'm looking at a itinerary or something. I don't know. But these flights are kind of just randomly generated. There's no API that it's hooked up to. I went and looked into that and could have done it, but I would have spent a lot of my time solving problems that I already solve day to day. And like I said, I wanted to do something different. So I just said generate it randomly. But then for the stats, which I'll get into here, let's go do the research and actually um, pull in all the statistics so that they're real, and then I'll explain which ones are real and which ones aren't. But the interesting thing was I used ChatGPT for that, and it went and pulled them all in, and I didn't check all of them, but I spot checked quite a few of them, and they were all accurate as far as what the internet says. So they might all be accurate, but so weight by manufacturer, I kind of came at this from the viewpoint of how much how much weight is now in the air that is no longer sitting on Earth. Um, and so uh, through 150 aircraft, looks like 71.3 million pounds. Now, I don't know if this is accurate or not because I don't know if the data is accurate, but it's pulling it from that field. And the point is, if we went in and had actual data that was verified, that this could be a real scenario. But this is just a mock. Um, so that's equivalent to 4.5 million gallons of fuel in the air. Um, Average duration of the flight is about 8 hours, originating from 8 different countries. We've got all these filters, kind of like a BI dashboard. These all work as filters. But you can also, obviously, as one would, well, let's look at all the Boeings. Okay, so right now in the sky, we have 61 Boeings, and these are the aircraft, and the flights originating from these countries, UAE, we can slice it down that way. Flights by airline, JetBlue, Southwest, Qantas, fuel capacity. And then this was really cool, weight by aircraft model. Now, I think these might actually be accurate. Think I did verify these, but across all of these, let's see how many. That's 747 400. So 15 million pounds. I did pounds because American, not uh, kilograms. But this is cool. So you can click on this. I'll do this one. So we can view the specs on it. The max ceiling is 45,000, max range, cruise speed. Like this is really cool. The engines amaze me. Like the design and the stages of compressors and how it just pulls that air in, compresses it down, and then out the back. It's awesome. So we've got what I asked it to do here was make a 3JS globe, a spinning globe, and use the texture. And I gave it the texture, and then I went on. Let's see, where did I go? I have to remember this. Sketchfab to get this Boeing Dreamliner. This guy made it and made it available to download. So this is a really cool jet. So I just put that in here and had it load up and we can look at this. Now, I did not put a different jet in for each one. I just did the 787 Dreamliner here, and that's the same model here. But what was really interesting was when I was asking AI to make all this stuff, I started to, kind of be a control freak about it and try to tell it programmatically how it should do things. I want you to make this way so that it can interact with other components this way. These are the ins and the outs. On the globe, I said I want it. Give me a spinning globe. Well, it made a globe, but um, it had like a Fong shader on it, however you pronounce that. And I was like, well, it doesn't look right. It doesn't fit the motif here. So um, I use this texture from Planet Pixel Emporium. This guy right there. Um, Black and white. And then I asked it, I said, hey, I can key this out in Photoshop or you can key it out. It's like, oh, I can key it out. That's fine. And I was like, all right, black is landmass, white is ocean, key out the ocean and make it vertex lit so that we don't get any weird shiny spots. And it did it. And you can see the airplanes flying through the background because it's keying that out. Which I thought was really cool. I said, put it on a nice little rotation. It did it. So then I said, well, okay, make some jets. I already gave you this jet here. Make them fly around it. But I said, don't parent the jet to the planet because then it'll look like it's in geosynchronous orbit. And I don't want that. I want it to look like it's actually moving. Now, obviously, airplanes don't fly perpendicular, they fly parallel to the ground. But this is just for fun. And it looks cool. And I like to watch them fly around. It's awesome. So it was really cool that it actually used a bunch of trigonometry, math, cosine, sine, and look at uh, functions to update it every frame. And it did a really good job. Their paths kind of vary. And then I said, hey, make there be three planes and just vary the inputs a little bit. And it did exactly that. And it was really cool. And I kind of said, hey, I want this to open up like a CRT old TV, like when you turn it on, whoosh, and then so I just kind of articulated that, and it did it pretty well. I found that there was an allocation hitch loading those models. So I said, hey, just stutter for about 5 seconds, 3 seconds, and show a loader as if I'm like making an API call. So it turned out pretty cool. I'm happy with it. I spent longer than I wanted to, but I wrote zero code. This was all done in React, and I've only worked with React at one former job. I've done a ton of Angular, but I've primarily been um, back end and cloud stuff. So this was really fun to just be able to do it just through natural language. Very, very cool. These filters work too. So the process around this was kind of interesting, specifically around the globe, because I wanted to play around with some of those looks. And I found out a couple different ways to work here. But one thing that I did was, I don't think I'm sharing this. Let me change what I am sharing. Maybe. All right. Maybe it's sharing now. I can't tell. Apologies. I'm new here to this. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. So, um, I had ChatGPT make me just a little 3JS screen or scene rather that I can tweak shader and material parameters, which it worked out pretty well. And then I could easily play and throw textures. So what I learned, I'm actually going to share my entire screen because you need to see the other portion of it. There we go. What I learned was that ChatGPT can actually come up with textures other than just making an index with a HTML page and a 3JS scene. Um, it can make all these sliders and it can make textures. It actually came up with these. So over here, I just said, "Hey, make a hex tiled hex texture," and it did it. I said, "Make it a normal map." It did it. Height map and base kind of look the same. And I said, "Hey, I used to use Blender, and there's this." I don't know how to say it. I'm not even gonna try it, but it's this this pattern. And if you've used Blender, you know it. And I said, hey, create a height map, and then let's try normal map, roughness map, a specular map. And I mapped all these to it, and it's a kind of low resolution, doesn't look great, but it did it. So, I mean, that was interesting. And it'll host the files for you. It's an expiring link. But and then I gave it that coastline, and then I said, "Hey, make an emissive mask, kind of like a rim light," and it came up with this. I couldn't, in the end, come up with something that looked cool enough, but anyway, this was pretty cool just to be able to have tools like this just be made for me on the fly, um, and just aid in the process. So it's really cool. I like that you can just come up with tools. That's one of my favorite things to do with AI is just make tools to automate processes or make my job easier or make somebody else's job easier. So anyway, yeah, Sky Stats, it was a lot of fun, and I'll share it on LinkedIn and some other places, and I will link to the repo and as well as to some other submissions that people have inspired me on. Shout out to my buddy Eric Ray to getting me into this. This is just good to sharpen skills and learn in real time. So we're all learning this together in real time, as Eric says, and it's true. It's just AI is taken off, and it's crazy what we can do nowadays. So anyway, thanks for watching.